The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, I don't really care what you call this track, if you call it the Nordschleife, the Nurburgring, the Green Hell, or the hardest track in the world. I call this track fun. I call this track enjoyable, and I call this track just legendary. Nestled in the countryside in Germany, this track presents so many fun opportunities. It's on a bucket list of mine personally, and tonight, Elbows Out is going to see what they can do. Who will make it through the famous carousel and have the best run? Who will make it through the infamous turn 13, the Schumacher corner? Who will make it through turn number 1 of the Grand Prix layout without really falling apart? Because, of course, this is a track that 12.8 miles in length with a lap record held by the Radical SR8LM of 6 minutes 48 seconds. And if you think about the fact that this is a track that even one of the fastest cars ever designed can only do in just under 7 minutes, absolutely insane. 7,000 plus YouTube crash videos. And well, let's see if we can't add a few more here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to Elbows Out Racing, where it is the season finale today. We are going to be in here enjoying some time around the Nordschleife. 90 minutes of racing here tonight. Not 60 minutes. We're going to give you an extra half hour just to see how the countryside goes. It's going to be myself, Brad, and then it's Patrick joining me in the booth here for the season finale. Patrick, good evening, my friend. How are you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. It's always awesome to come here to PTR TV, Elbows Out Racing. I mean, we're here at the Nordschleife, 170 corners of pure chaos. And this is really a track that is going to test people. So these drivers in this field tonight, they got their work cut out for them. And even a 60-minute race around this track is tough enough as is, let alone 90. So this is going to be a fun one.
This is going to be a lot of fun, really, to watch here as 30 seconds left to go in qualifying as we have down the final backstretch going right now. This is Parker Chiapuzzo bringing his way through in his McLaren, seeing what he can do here as he runs through. You know, you think about this track and just how many corners it is, just how difficult it is. The Nordschleife, of course, being known as the Northern Loop, the Grand Prix Strike known as, well, the Grand Prix Strike, and you run these combined. This is prepping up for the 24-hour race coming up. So 24 hours of the Nordschleife is this weekend, or 24 hours of Nurburgring. And there's several drivers that are prepping for that. We'll talk more in that as we go through tonight. But as we get set up, we're looking at about a 12 to 14 lap race. Pit stop's still going to be required. Everything is still going to be needed that is traditionally needed here in Elbows Out. And well, let's look at how the grid settles up. Well, it is going to be in GTP. Let's start out with them. It's going to be the Big Mac himself, the return of the Mac, Eric Mack, up on pole with a 718. Aiden Garcia in second place. Antonio Costa in third. Bob Carey fourth. Matt Toppin and Benjamin Bechtel, your 6 GTPs there, with Dwight Hibbs in P7. GT3 Pro, this is our biggest class on the night. Tyler Stanek, Jeff Lorianti, Ian Tanzias, Paul Nye Sr., Zachary Nerney, Julius Mashewski, And then from there, we have Daniel Pinero, Ethan Murphy, Chris Stewart, Martin Merkva, and Brian Metterly in GT3 Pro. GT3 AM as it stands, Kyle O'Grady, Parker Chiapuzzo, Christopher Ondera, Matthew Santerciero, Emily Milkey, and Kylan Bruce, with Nathan Hemperly and Joshua Bibb, all of your cars that are in. They're getting formed up here, getting ready to go. This is going to be a fun one. Buckle in. 90 minutes, plenty of action coming.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, this is such a tricky track, so you got to be absolutely perfect. And if you make one mistake, this track will bite you with no hesitation. There's a lot of elevation changes and a lot of corners. There are some pretty good overtaking spots on this track, but you really have to pick your moment and go for it. I mean, the best spot is that little drag strip you see towards the backstretch of the track, right before you get to the last 2 or 3 corners or so. But overall, you really got to pick your moment. And with the fact that this is multi-class, getting through traffic is probably going to be harder on this track than it has been any other track that we visited this season at Elbows Out.
This is going to be so much fun to watch as we go through. There's so many different things that are going to come into this, and we'll kind of talk about it. This is a track that kind of helped propel my start into the interest of sim racing, honestly. So this is going to be one to see. Lots of love in YouTube chat. Well, I'm saying love, and then I just saw what I believe is Tyler Stanek have a interesting comment there in the run. Championships are very close. They're very interesting. It's something that we'll go over here in just a second, because this race start is going to come very quick, very, very fast as it currently stands. I mean, when you look at the run and you look at where everyone is at in terms of their points, where they're at, this is going to be a very close run. Eric Mack, of course, trying to dominate when it's all said and done, with Garcia not far behind. And then, of course, in the GT3 AMs, it's such a close battle to keep an eye on. GT3 AMs, I mean, anyone can end up anywhere.
Especially on a track like the Nordschleife. With this Nordschleife track, anything can happen. I mean, I know we said it was every track we have been to, but I mean, you saw last week at Zandvoort where drivers were willing to take risks. And this is a track where if you want to make any kind of progression from the middle of the back end of the field, then you really got to take those risks. But it's a high risk, high reward kind of track here at the Nordschleife. So yeah, I mean, it's the final race of the season as well. So even if these drivers aren't exactly in a spot to win the championship or any kind of title, they're still going to want to end the season on a high note with a win. So we'll just have to see how this race plays out, as we're going to go ahead and get going green here very soon. I mean, I don't know about you, Brad, but I am really looking forward to this one.
This is going to be such a good run here as we watch Eric Mack, your pole setter, coming through in the GTPs. GTPs, of course, follow the pace car. And then for Tyler Stanek, it's up to him to build the gap behind, as you see Eric Mack setting things up here in the Cadillac. And as the pace car pulls away, we'll pull out and here onto the the Grand Prix circuit. There's the words. We're underway for 90 minutes here. Green flag is out. We'll be underway here with GTPs. Down into the hard turn 1 we go. Deep on the brakes, Eric Mack through Antonio Costa coming up. Aiden Garcia holds on to third as they take that hard left to start through. Matt Toppin there going through with Ben Bechtel having a little bit of a slide there early on. And no, there's with an early spin.
Championship leader, the Big Mac, having a big spin there. And we knew that the mistakes were going to bite drivers, but now we'll see how these GT3 cars fare. It looks like it's going to be 3 wide potential going into turn 1. This usually doesn't end well. Surprisingly, it went pretty well here. Now we'll see if these drivers can navigate through this next part of the track. This is a tricky set of corners, especially when you have around at least 10 to 20 GT3 cars trying to make the exact same corner at the same time as we are on board with Paul Nye Sr. So far, it's been a pretty good race here for the Chevrolet Corvette. He survived the first few corners, which is always a very good thing, especially when you have a 90-minute race here. And he is going to be right up onto the back of the Mustang, as now we switch to Matt Toppin, who is trying to chase down Bob Carey. The Lamborghini livery-inspired Cadillac trying to chase down that BMW. And it's early stages, but you really want to cement your place pretty early on.
GT3s are not being kind to each other already here early on the start. I mean, look at this. You jump back here. Ian Tanzias, who is really trying to find the run, or Tanzias, apologies, trying to find a run there on Paul Nye Sr. as Bob Carey is able to get past Matt Toppin. Matt Toppin with a big spin there, and Eric Mack will capitalize side by side, and no! Carey with a hard hit to the wall as we head into the Northern Circuit, the Nordschleife itself, and now here come the GT3s, but for Bob Carey, that is day over. That is day done. That is day dusted.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there. I mean, once again, like we said earlier, this track is no respecter of persons. Like, one tiny slip up, if you get into the grass or even take a little too much curb, then you are going for a ride where you are just a passenger. And unfortunately, we've seen a little bit of chaos in the early stages of this race. We kind of figured there would be chaos, but I wasn't expecting it so soon. But with a bunch of championships on the line that will be settled tonight, there's a Corvette being a very expensive American lawnmower. But there's also a lot to play for here tonight.
Paul Nye the Donut Guy doing what Paul Nye the Donut Guy does, and mowing lawns and taking care of things very quickly there as they go through. So everybody early on getting this run through as they go first lap out. Dwight Hibbs has a black flag to serve. Not at all what you want to see there for Dwight as he goes. This is going to be a very polarizing track, I will say that, but I'll tell you right now, GT3s are going to be having a time as, well, we jump back there with Christopher Ondera, who has somehow managed to keep that Porsche in almost one piece, question mark, going through as Ondera will try to get going, assess the damage. That's some heavy right-hand or left-hand side damage, though, on that Porsche, so I think he is through. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you right now, there is going to be heavy use of the replay system tonight. It'll be the only way to really catch all the action on track. Jumping back up front with our race leader, Antonio Costa, currently 1.7 seconds off of this guy, Aiden Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, Antonio Costa did come off of a very strong and dominated performance at Zandvoort, but Aiden Garcia wasn't too shabby himself at Zandvoort last time out, but this track is quite different compared to Zandvoort. Now, Zandvoort is a relatively high-speed track. The Nordschleife, on the other hand, is high precision. So there's a lot of corners that come at you really fast, and a lot of elevation changes that also come at you really fast. So, once again, if you lose focus for the slightest of milliseconds, then your whole race can be pretty much over before it really got started here. But so far, a good chunk of these GTP cars are still navigating through the German forests here. And I mean, it is so satisfying to find your groove on this track. It's a fun track to drive, but it is so stressful, especially with it being a season finale.
Through the carousel for the first time here as we go, and great run there from Garcia. You see the GTPs are able to really dominate on that carousel as they go through. Checking back in a little bit further back, Brian Metterly is trying to put in some pressure on Martin Merkva as it goes through, and Ian Tanzias, Ian's out, Paul Nye is out, Zachary Nerney is out, Christopher Ondera is out. So we've had incidents early here, but I don't want to miss out on Brian Metterly trying to chase down Martin Merkva, get a pass done, as you can see just the gap that's already formed all the way through this field as they go, as we pull up the current class gaps as they stand. I mean, you can see that this track is going to be very polarizing for the 90 minutes we run here, and we haven't even completed our first lap yet as it goes. Actually, we haven't even completed our first lap yet, and the drivers are having some very polarizing moments as we go through. And what do you say we go get that PTR TV replay working here? Let's go to a good old replay transition, get some things dialed up, and let's look at what happened here for everyone. So this is Eric Mack in the beginning, and you see he just overpowered it there on cold tires. This has been Bechtel in the beginning, and this is the transition, the Nordschleife itself, and just understeered severely. Bob Carey then goes past him, and Bob Carey bumps a curb and slides through and around. And then from there, Matt Toppin, this is what I call a sympathy spin for him going through. He had a off and around. Christopher Ondera, well, we watched this one live, and he had more than one incident. He had a few. Ian, what happened to Ian? Well, Ian, big bobble in the BMW, not the Bimmer, and ouch. That is what happened with that as he came through, and Paul Nye hopped on board for that one. Let's ride on board with Paul Nye, and I mean, that is the thing with the Nordschleife. It's so small, it's so narrow, and then Zach Nerney, I mean, ultimately just out of that one as well. You see that ride-in severely damaged. Dwight Hibbs, we just missed this one. What happened to Dwight? And Dwight with a big snap off to the side, snapping through. Antonio Costa, our race leader, what has happened to him? This is the second carousel, and he kicks the back into the front, makes it a drift car, gets past, and as we go back to live pictures here, what has happened to that? Well, that tells me a new race leader, Aiden Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, good job on Aiden Garcia from not getting collected, because we saw a lot of those incidents. They usually collected or nearly collected at least one driver. So good on Aiden for missing out on getting collected in those incidents there, because, I mean, it's only lap one, and we've already seen so many incidents happening. So it's really unfortunate for these drivers, and they still got a really long way to go. We are just getting done with the first lap of this race here at the Nordschleife, with the GTP cars wrapping up their first lap, and I believe the GT3 cars aren't super far behind, but I think this one's going to get really scary once we start seeing the traffic come into effect. Now, granted, like you said, this is around a 17-mile track, or about 25 kilometers roughly, so it is going to take quite a while before we see traffic, unlike Zandvoort, where we felt like we saw traffic almost right away. But when the traffic gets involved, and like you mentioned, this track is so narrow, and you really got to pick your moment to make the overtake. But sometimes, even if you do pick your moment to overtake, you just pick incorrectly, and it just really ends your race before it really had a chance to kick off, as there's a very entertaining battle here for 13th between Brian Metterly, Chris Stewart, and Martin Mertwa here, and this is a fun battle. The thing about the Nordschleife is, unlike Monaco, it is a narrow track that you can actually battle on and actually have some really good overtakes.
Do you mean to tell me that you're not a Monaco fan?
Despite the fact that I have a apartment complex with Monaco in the name, no.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I was worried for a second you were going to be trying to tell me that Monaco is the crown jewel of motorsports. And I was about to put out a call and have somebody else jump in the booth, because I cannot stand for that blasphemy. As much of a Formula One fan as I am, Monaco is not the crown jewel of motorsports. I don't care what you say.
Honestly, to me, the crown jewel of motorsports is Le Mans. That's just my take. The Nurburgring also can kind of fill that role, but if we're talking motorcycles, then we have to mention the Isle of Man TT, because honestly, that's a crazy race, but we can talk more about that later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of things to go through. And again, this is a 90-minute race, ladies and gentlemen. So plenty of time will be had to discuss and kind of go through. And Patrick, I'm going to put you on a little bit of a watchdog duty here, because I've told the drivers, if they manage to Punterino their way out, that they are welcome to join us in the booth and come hang out and kind of talk about the track and how they feel. And, well, if any drivers decide they want to jump in, we'll see if they jump in. But as of right now, I don't see anyone really jumping in. So it seems like here, first lap, everyone's locked in. Plenty of time to go and plenty of battles to have. So just keep your eyes on that through the day. I will be honest with you, too, watching, just looking at where we're currently at in the standings. We haven't talked about him a lot this season. But I will tell you, Eric Mack has 35 penalty points on the season. And penalty points are gotten from penalties, of course, but also changing cars through the season, changing teams. You can pick up penalty points from that. So he's currently going to be up on Aiden Garcia, not by much, but just by enough. It's 341 to 312 with Matt Toppin at 292 points leading GTP. Eric Mack, of course, wants to try to secure this one in. Looks like he's in a good position to do so right now.
Oh yeah, I mean we know Big Mac has had some very strong performances throughout the season, but we've also seen this race end very early on. I know he's had some incidents at a few tracks this season. Hockenheim comes to mind. I think Daytona too. He also had a somewhat of an early incident. Zandvoort as well, I think. So it's been a tough string for Eric Mack here, unless my memory is failing me slightly. But overall, he has been a strong competitor. I mean, he wouldn't be a championship leader if he wasn't. But one of the things that's been really impressive throughout the season is this. Whether the tracks are wide or narrow, there's always been a lot of good battles in all the classes, and we're seeing a mighty fine battle here with Parker Chiapuzio, and then the aforementioned battle from earlier with Brian Metterly, Chris Stewart, and Martin Merkva.
And what's interesting here for Parker is that Parker is third in GT3 AM, and I mean, look at this. Just an absolute wall holding these cars behind here as we hop on board with Parker and watch his perspective going through Metterly, Stewart, Merkva behind. I mean, just absolutely putting the literal elbows out on this McLaren that he's running and doing a great job of it, I have to say, of just keeping everyone behind, keeping things very, very much a challenge to get past here, and you see just how well that's going for him. He's having a great time, I'd say, as in front of him, Ethan Murphy and Kylan Bruce have decided to go side by side.
Yeah, going side by side is either going to end really good or really badly when it comes to this track. I mean, we saw earlier that if you touch the curbs ever so slightly, then it can really ruin your race. I mean, even though there weren't really some overtakes, we saw earlier on where drivers get a little bit off that track. They just got slightly out of the groove of the track, and their race is pretty much over before it really had a chance to kick off.
Yep, and as we follow them through, this battle continues along here as they just, I mean, you sort of end up in this mix where it's a single file run and there's literally nothing you can do, as now we have passes looking to be set up as we come through the corners and down, and hold your breath. It's getting really competitive, really, really quick here as they go.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing I love about this GT crowd, is that it doesn't matter if you're a GT3 Pro or a GT3 AM driver, you are still going to fight tooth and nail regardless of what class everybody else is in. You're just going to give it your all, and we've seen some really battles between the pros and the AMs here this season, and it's been really fun to watch, just like this battle here. I love how every few minutes or so, it just becomes, or it just gets to the point where we just add another car to this battle for position here. It was 3 when we first checked in with the battle, then it went to 4, and now it's up to 5 different cars battling for position. And honestly, sooner rather than later, it's going to be 6.
I was about to say, really, it feels like it's 6 right now as they go. So, I mean, we'll pull up this overall leaderboard as it stands. I mean, this battle, though, is, again, the one we're watching just absolutely going along, including 4 cars in the mix there. And technically, this is going to be your battle for 5th in class, or, you know, if you look overall, we're looking at about P number 11 is really where this battle is sitting at, P12. So as this battle continues, I mean, just a great battle here that develops along and just keeps going. It's a great battle to watch all of these guys be so close and competitive, but it shows just how challenging it really is for these cars to go through. And as we watch up front, Aiden Garcia, Antonio Costa, I mean, they're battling it out as well, and the gaps are fairly close.
Yeah, we're not seeing a lot of what we saw at Zandvoort, where it was Antonio Costa briskly just going off into the sunset, and we didn't really see him much until the end of the race. But yeah, it's been a pretty good battle between these cars right now, and obviously there's still so much to play for. And I think this race is really going to come down to the final few minutes. But to get to the finish, first you must finish. And I believe we have had somebody actually join the commentary booth. It is none other than Zachary Nerney.
Zachary Nerney, the first driver out here. Zach, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Pretty good up here in the booth, but oh! Ethan Murphy is off sideways on the track. Martin Merkva misses him. What in the world did we just tune to? All right, well, as I have a heart attack there, trying to, do the professional commentator thing and do an interview, I'd say I'm sorry, but I was cutting back to that GT3 battle that had been just tooth and nail, and well, now we see it was nail and tooth going into the carousel. Goodness gracious. Okay. Anyway, Zach, let's dial up a replay of what in the world just happened, because that was, well, interesting to say the least.
Took a bit too much curb again.
Yeah, he did as we go through, and so there's that. Car snaps. And
oh no, he didn't.
Somehow avoids hitting anyone. And then Ben Bechtel just had this. Oh, that looks like a hardware failure.
Yep. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
That is so heartbreaking for Ben. As we go back live pictures, he's sitting. Anyway, Zach, not to overshadow your time here with us, but what happened, man?
I zigged when I should have zagged. I misread the wreck, really. Feel really bad for taking Paul out there and giving Ian some extra damage, honestly.
So, talk to me about your experience with the Nurburgring. How much have you ran this track? What do you know about this track? What do you love? What do you hate?
I hate the GP circuit. Love just about every other part. This will be my second year now running Nurburgring 24, so I have a lot of love for this track as a whole. It's one of my favorite endurance races too.
So looking through and thinking about that, how do you usually do in those 24-hour races?
Recently some bad luck. Hopefully we can turn that around this season. In order to finish first you got to finish mindset going into this race this weekend.
I think it'll be awesome to kind of watch and go through. What car are you running this weekend?
I'm going to be running the BMW.
Good choice. Good choice. Good choice. Are you a certain Jimmer fan? I have to ask?
I am, but that's not the reason for the BMW, sadly.
Ooh, contact between Stewart and Bruce there as they go through, and that. I tell you what, I don't know how Kyle and Bruce is going to feel about that, but we're going to ride on board as they run into the northern loop of the Nordschleife, and well, I have a feeling that will be payback there. When you're a driver, kind of talk to me about how you manage emotions here. As we watch this battle for the lead now develop, Antonio Costa right on the rear end here of Aiden Garcia. You drove GTP, you dropped down to GT3, and we've discussed that before, but whenever you get into very heated battles, especially GTP, how do you manage yourself and manage the car?
Hold on for dear life, honestly. Battling in GTP, especially around a track this narrow, has got to be nerve-wracking. I'm really excited to see when they come up on the GT3s for the first time, and I think only time, if math is correct there.
It's going to be interesting, I have to say. I think black traffic, for the one time we have it, is going to be an absolute mess, just on my guess. With watching everything here. Battles still developing all the way through here. Brian Metterly is still trying to find a run, but really this battle for the lead, what does Antonio have to do to get past Aiden at this point? What do you think really needs to be done between these two?
I genuinely think his best bet's going to be just waiting for the straight and throwing that thing on attack. He's got the faster straight line car here. Hopefully he's got lower downforce.
See what happens here. And Zach, since you're in the booth, man, anyone you want to thank or shout out before we let you go?
Just thank you guys again for a great season. Really hope to have you guys back next season. And thank the whole admin team and everyone who shows up every week.
Awesome, man. Well, Zach, we're going to let you go relax. Enjoy the stream behind the scenes. If you decide you want to hang out more in the booth here and, chat, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll let you go enjoy. And thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
It's no problem. I'll just be an audience. So if you guys get bored, just let me know.
Sounds good, man. We'll catch up with you later. All right, so Patrick, Zach, good old Zachary there, a driver that ran GTPs, went to GT3s, has experience all the way around in this class, or in this field, knows what he's talking about. He said it himself, just hold on for dear life is the plan for GT3s or GTPs. That's an interesting answer to hear from a driver.
This track does tend to throw you around a lot, like you're on one of those mechanical bulls they have at some bars occasionally. So, holding on for dear life isn't exactly the worst thing you can do around this track. And I do agree that patience is a virtue, especially on this track. It's super narrow, like we've talked about a dozen times at this point. And so you really got to pick your moment, like we're seeing here in this battle between Chris Stewart and Kyle O'Grady, the two Porsches from different classes battling to get out here, as Chris Stewart does manage to maintain the position. Well, it's going to be easier said than done to hold on to that position on that straight, because despite the fact that this track has way too many corners, it is pretty common knowledge that straight is easily the best spot to overtake, because you get such a massive slipstream going down that straight, and it gives you a lot of time to really just slingshot your way into that next position that you're trying to get from the car ahead. So yeah, I think between the battle with Costa and Garcia, I think that's exactly when the move is going to be made. But once again, anything can happen in racing. So
you can say that again, because it's always interesting to kind of watch who does what where. Kyle O'Grady here, Kyle and Bruce. This is the battle overall for the GT3 AM lead here. Kyle O'Grady does get past Kyle and Bruce there and is able Kyle O'Grady and Brian Medderly battling it out. Words are hard, but Brian Medderly gets past Kyle O'Grady there, and that's actually P6 in Pro versus the leader of AM as they go through and around. Continuing to kind of watch these battles develop out. Antonio Costa, 0.3 of a second here behind Garcia as they come down into the Grand Prix circuit and head around. Let's see what sort of time they can find as they come through. And, Antonio Costa trying to just find something as they now launch through turn 13 into the first kilometers of the Nordschleife itself here. They hit the 2 kilometer mark, and at this point it is literally just mind the curbs, do what you need to do, and keep this thing running around. Now you head down towards Great Oaks, which is the 3 kilometer mark, and then head down towards Quittabach, and then towards Flight Place.
these corners can sometimes be as hard to pronounce as some of the names that we've had throughout the season. But yeah, I mean, you really just gotta bide your time because, granted, this is 30 minutes longer than our normal race. So there's gonna be time to make moves. I mean, we're not even 30 minutes in the race. We're almost at 30 minutes into the race, which time flies when you're having fun. Time is flying as fast as these prototypes are through the Nordschleife right now, as Antonio Costa still trying to get past Aiden Garcia, but I think at this point he's just going to have to wait for Aiden Garcia to make a mistake, because Aiden seems really dialed in. He's in his groove. He's in the zone, and right now he is having a fantastic run.
Yeah, he's having a great run here as they hit the 6 kilometer mark. They're down through Foxhole. Mind the braking zone through as you head down into the Ardno Forest and go through. Make sure you watch the grass to the inside there. Costa, a great run through. Keep your eyes on the track ahead. 7 kilometers in as they head towards Meckesfeld, coming through around left into a left. Now it's into Callan as they head towards the Dreifach Rechts, which is 3-way rights, which is a triple right-hander as it is known. And keep that through, keep this going around. And believe it or not, you're already about 9 kilometers through the Nordschleife itself as we go through. Only lap 4 of 13 at the moment. You can see there the Bilstein banners there on the side, the signs on the left-hand side that tell the drivers how far into this lap they are as they go through, and they will be keeping an eye on that because it gives them an idea of kind of where they're at, where they're going here as they come through one of the multiple places where you get really good YouTube videos coming out as they come down the hill and back up and continue along, passing the 10-kilometer mark now. That puts them through Watermill, heading down towards the Lotta Left Kink, which again is another great YouTube opportunity. You tend to see some of these areas where you see a lot of YouTube videos, and I don't know how much time you've put into YouTube, Patrick, but I've put a lot of time into watching YouTube clips around the Nordschleife. Those crash videos I mentioned earlier, thousands upon thousands of them. Such a great run as I see a wiper on.
I don't know if that's an accident, but if we got rain on this circuit, it's going to make a chaotic race even more chaotic. And first thing I think about when I see Nurburgring YouTube videos is somebody rolling a Ford Focus or some other hot hatch around this track. Remembering that front-wheel drive cars, unless they're specifically race tuned, they don't exactly transfer weight too well like these prototypes as they navigated through the carousel. And now we are just taking a look at another GT3 battle, and this is, I think, a multi-class battle here. So this is Parker and I believe, yeah, Chris Stewart. So Parker Chiapuzio and Chris Stewart battling it out now. A AM driver versus a pro driver, and honestly, I am really excited to see a lot of these GT3 AM drivers graduate to GT3 Pro, because some of these drivers are fantastic. Chiapuzio is definitely a fantastic driver with a fantastic livery as well. I don't know, I kind of get like Crash Bandicoot vibes from that livery, but it is a very good livery nevertheless. Oh, actually, I had the wrong car this entire time. My apologies.
Trying to just confirm some information behind the scenes before I announce it here. This is Julius Magzewski, who is trying to run through and continue times as we watch. So a lot of these drivers will be moving around, up, down, all the way around next season. But you know what? We're 30 minutes into this race. I think it's time we start leaking next season plans. We're final run of the season, so we might as well. Hey, just so everyone is aware, next season, GTP Grand Touring prototypes will not be running.
Oh my.
What are we going to instead? LMP2.
Now that should be fun. I mean, the LMP2 cars generally are, I mean, they're easier to get a hang of compared to the GTPs, but they're still tricky cars. So, I mean, it still takes a lot of skill to master those cars, but we should see some good battles there.
I think it's going to be great battles to watch through. And also, one other thing to note about this, there is not an official setup for the Nurburgring for GTPs. So some of these guys are running sort of botched mixed setups to what they would normally be running. For example, some of the guys are running Watkins Glen setups for the Nurburgring here.
Ooh, as Ryan Medley has a little bit of a touch and go with the wall, and even more touching and going. That car is definitely got a few things damaged on it, but yeah, I mean, I visibly was taken aback by the knowledge that Watkins Glen setups were being used on the Nurburgring. I mean, you think of them as two separate tracks, but a lot of these corners are very high speed. Fun fact, I know it's a different platform, but Gran Turismo actually considers this as a high-speed track. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be super surprised, but yeah, when you think of Watkins Glen compared to Nürburgring, you really don't usually put those in the same category.
Yeah, and I can definitely see why this is considered a high-speed track. There is a lot of pace to be found here around the Nordschleife as you watch through and continue to watch these battles around. Chris Stewart here trying to put pressure on Machewski. There we go. Words are hard, and Polish is even harder. Julius here joining us for the final round of the season. Hopefully we'll be here for future seasons to come, going through Julius running through currently, just trying to keep back Chris Stewart behind and doing a fairly good job of it, I'd say, here as we watch the gaps just continue to ebb and flow and run through. And 30 minutes down, 60 minutes left to go. Plenty of time to be found around. This battle comes through the first carousel as they go through, and just the fight continues along. There you go. Get the nose in. Get a nose in, at least, Chris Stewart, if you can. Play it respectful. Nose is back out, not able to clear the pass, but definitely knows that there's pressure there to be found.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, it's a common tactic in a lot of different series and a lot of different cars where trying to pressure your opponents into a mistake is, I mean, it's kind of a cheeky tactic, but it works, and here we go. We're now starting to see these prototypes getting mingled in with these GT3 cars, and honestly, that was smoother than I thought it was going to be, but, I mean, so far, Aiden Garcia and Antonio Costa have been very smooth drivers. Their race has been pretty smooth sailing for the most part. I know Antonio Costa had a spin early on in the race, but it's still been a pretty good race for him as he's still in the wheel tracks of that Acura up ahead. It is Caddy v Acura, a IMSA rivalry as almost as old as time, but these two cars are really gonna fight it out. And I mean, you take a good chunk of these quarters mostly flat out, so yeah, we'll just have to see how the rest of this race plays out as these two cars are getting so close to each other. That gap is, I don't think that gap has been over half a second in quite some time. As these two very talented GTP drivers just navigate this brutal circuit.
It's such a good run to watch them go through right now, because this is, I mean, a battle for the ages right now. Aiden Garcia, Antonio Costa, I mean, this is hardcore elbows out racing, literally, is what you're seeing here. This is just the hard fight being fought and going through. If you look at points, kind of where they stand, and also let's talk about the team standings too, because as of right now for this season, again, just to leak some of the fun for next season, but not all of it for this season, we're running manufacturer points, and right now Acura is currently dominating Cadillac by a lot. So Acura currently in first place in points with 297.3, BMW 296. Porsche is actually in third in the GTP category with 277. Fourth place is Cadillac with 260, and Ferrari with 3 starts, 1 pole, only has 68 points. Only 3 starts through the season. The most popular by far being the Porsche GTP. However, I'd say the Cadillac is a fun GTP. So seeing Antonio Costa there in second representing, but Aiden Garcia up there in front in the Acura, no surprise. So keep your eyes there, because those two will continue to battle it out for a while and keep the run being very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure with a specific setup, all these GTP cars are very fun to drive. I'm very surprised that the Ferrari hasn't seen more action, but I mean, we'll just have to see how next season plays out. Although, it is worth noting, once again, that next season we do not have the GTP cars, so I'm curious about the LMP2 cars, and I believe Zachary Nerney wants to come back into the commentary box.
Does Zachary Nerney want to come back in the booth, or is he just here for funsies? Let's see what he wants to do. Yeah, come on, Zach. Come join us back. What's going on, Zach?
Not much. I didn't realize I pressed the hand raise button. I don't mind being in here though.
Oh, hang out for a bit. Why not? Can't hurt anything, so.
All right, so actually, I'm going to ask you a quick question for our audience at home. So, it's been a decent season for you. It's been a long season, I'm sure, at some points. What was your favorite race from this season?
I gotta think about that. Oh gosh. Honestly, I know this one was short, but I just love this track so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a driver's track as well, and I know sometimes the driver's track versus the spectator's track usually tends to differ, but this is one track where it does not differ in the slightest, as that's a fantastic pass by Martin Merkva as he takes P6 overall in the GT3 Pro category. Now, as far as I'm aware, the calendar for next season has not been introduced yet, but if you can make a request for any track to appear next season, what track would that be?
Probably Daytona again. I know a lot of people say it's overused, but I cannot get enough of it. It's one of my best tracks. So,
as a Florida native, I fully respect that decision.
Daytona is just such a good track. I don't care who you are. Daytona is a great track. It's that road course is, I mean, just mwah, chef's kiss. Perfect.
I think we need to see it in IndyCar, honestly.
That is.
I would also love to have Imola back on. We had done that the season before this one, and that was a lot of fun too.
What is your least favorite track?
I don't know the actual name for the track, but the Brazilian Grand Prix track from F1.
Ooh.
Interlagos?
Yeah.
That's a hot take if I've ever heard one, but hey, to each their own.
It's great in an open wheel. It's great in a downforce car. GT3.
Okay, I can see that one.
No, you somehow won me back on that one. I was fully prepared to kick you out and throw a fit, but no, you won your way back on that one. You have a good point.
I was gonna say, I mean, that's a hot take. I mean, that's coming from me, a person who is not a fan of Suzuka. So, I mean, I know that's considered a hot take in motorsport fandom, but
I mean, if Suzuka wasn't so overrated, I'd probably be more of a fan of it. But everyone acts like it's the best track to ever exist, and it's not.
if we're talking about Japanese tracks, Motegi and Fuji are, to me, just above.
Correct.
Yeah, Motegi's great. Oh, this battle is still going strong.
I don't know what battle to keep up with. Garcia and Costa are going, and Machevsky and Metterly are battling, and I can't decide which battle is more important to keep on screen. Well, not more important, but which battle is more to keep on screen, because as soon as I cut away from one, the other one starts closing up.
Yeah, I mean, these two are fighting tooth and nail around this track. I mean, it's like these two cars are basically part of a motorsport centipede as they're navigating through this track. It's really awesome to watch. That's why, like granted, driving on this track is a nerve-wracking experience, but when you get it right, it is so satisfying.
It is interesting, too, how little curb they're taking. I don't know if that's a risk management thing or if it just kills the car every time you touch it, but
I think we've seen quite a few incidents earlier on in this race where a car took a little bit of curb and became a metallic Beyblade.
I want to see here what Costa does down through. So that's down into third gear underneath the bridge, and then from here on the bridge, you just absolutely floor it. Down the hill you go, keep things going, and just kind of mind what you're doing down through the bottom of the foxhole. Very late turn in, a little bit more curb than I expected there as he comes through. Now coming through the Adeno Forest. Words are hard. Coming around, more traffic coming up here. Now, how do they do getting past the traffic?
It went pretty smoothly the last time these two particular GTPs navigated through traffic, so hopefully, for the sake of all the drivers involved, it is going to be another easy move, but trying to overtake on this track in general is easier said than done. But yeah, once again, pretty smoothly for these prototypes, just getting past the GT3 car. And I mean, luckily, I feel like luckily for these drivers here, for Antonio and Aiden, that when they had to get past a GT3 car, it's really only been a singular GT3 car kind of languishing back a bit. So I feel like if it gets to the point where it's like that battle we saw early on where there's like 6 cars involved at one point, and trying to get past that crowd is going to be really spicy.
Yeah, well, it'll be a That'll be a good one to watch through. Another battle to kind of keep your eyes on a little bit for... never mind. Don't cut yet, because Costa's going to look for the move up the inside. Side by side they go.
Ooh.
Costa not able to clear, and, well, here's the battle ahead of them. That is Paul Nye, who just got past Emily Milkey and Ian Tanzias. And now you have Aiden Garcia, Antonio Costa trying to clear this battle that's going on, and, well, you got to be a little bit careful coming through, but Costa right on that rear end again, trying to come through as they come around, and down the hill they go. They're not far off from the first carousel, and let's see what happens here as they go. There is Paul Nye, the donut guy, who is just very politely kind of saying, you know what, I'll stay out of the way here as we're about to hit half race distance, guys.
God, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? I mean, I know, I'm sure these drivers are having fun, and I know we're having fun here in the commentary booth. I mean, it's been a fun season. Even for the few races I popped in, it's always been fun to be here to commentate and also fun to watch on TV. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to next season.
I want to point out YouTube chat. Stutterbutter. I have my house on the 33 to win pro. First of all, you have your house on Tyler Stanek to win pro. I have questions. I have concerns. I have thoughts. Second, 33 with a Red Bull Max Verstappen helmet. Good taste. Third of all, I think your house is safe. Lorianti is currently 5.5 seconds back here on Tyler, so you might be okay.
I noticed that earlier in chat. I just never got around to saying anything, but that is great. I love seeing comments like that in our YouTube chat. It's always great. It's always a good time with chat, because I mean, even in the rare case where the action on track isn't exciting, 9 times out of 10, chat is going to be very entertaining in that case. And we're blessed right now because we got entertainment in the comment section and on track with all these battles. And like you said, it is hard to see who to keep up with. This Bob Carey does go ahead and get past one of the GT3 cars in that BMW, as he is currently sitting in 5th place overall. And I mean, been a bit of a hectic start for him, but Jim Puzio is having a pretty good race himself, currently a 1.5 seconds ahead of his next closest in-class rival, as Daniel Panero currently in 7th in his class, trying to get into the top 6, chasing down Macheski there in the, I'm just going to call it the Crash Bandicoot McLaren. But yeah, I mean, it's been a very fun race, and I can't believe we're already at a half race distance. That's crazy.
That we are. And I tell you what, Zach, you're in the booth. You're the guest in the booth right now. Nobody else has joined us through. Dwight's, of course, still racing. But I know Dwight's been watching. Hold on a second. Pit stops. Ladies and gentlemen, get your pit stops. Aiden Garcia is in. Antonio Costa's in. Will we have the return of the Mac? The Big Mac, Eric Mac, is in. All right, pit stops are here, boys and girls. Pit stops are here. Is this what we expected? Is this earlier than we expected? Is this later than we expected? Where are we at?
I think this is a little bit earlier than I expected for the GTPs. I kind of expected it closer to that 30-minute remaining mark for all cars, honestly.
Let's see here.
And, I mean, as for me, I think this is kind of around where we see, at least in some races, this is where we've seen some of these GTP cars pit in during the normal 60-minute races. So, I mean, it's not super surprising, but I figured maybe they would go to the 40-minute mark, but I'm not overly surprised here.
All right, so Garcia, Costa come out less than half a tenth separating them and go through. Let's see them get up to speed and get going. Remember, it is mandatory in Elbows Out Racing to take 4 tires, and that is why. Oh, Garcia, Costa. both go around through turn one. This opens up the door for Eric Mack. Garcia gets away. Costa's coming through. Eric Mack surely would have seen what happened or heard them on the radio or just would have been told by the team and tiptoeing around. Now on cold tires, the first couple kilometers of the actual Nordschleife of this green hell are literally a green hell. You have no grip. You have nothing to be found. Garcia, though, 6 seconds the lead here as Mack is going to try to get past Costa. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, on those ice-cold tires that are on these prototypes, they also kind of resemble me at the skate rink a few days ago. Just spin and wipe out. And like I said, it really brought Eric Mack back into this fight. Now, we know, I know this is a pun that's been used quite a bit, but this is a magnificent opportunity for the Big Mac to get back into this fight and solidify his championship.
This is going to be a good one to watch here now. Eric Mack starting to lose a little bit of time here to Costa. Zach, what do you make of that moment there for both Garcia and Costa, both spinning out through turn one?
Yeah, I think they got too accustomed to the warm tires, honestly. That was what would be the killer there. Coming out of the pits, you'd expect that warm tire grip, or at least not as brutal of a cold tire grip, and just lose it.
Man, coming into the second kilometer of the Nordschleife itself, going through North Turn, down towards Hochheim, and then towards Quittelbacher and Fluplatz as they go through. I mean, at this point, we'll see if they can close gaps. Does look like time is coming down a little bit here. Aiden Garcia has been very good at defending, but I don't think has been the ultimate pace setter between these three. We'll see what happens here. And by the way, if you're wondering what the gap is between Garcia, Costa, Mack, and then all the way back to Tyler Stinnett here, this is a 4-minute gap between those three GTPs and then Tyler. So just so everyone's aware, that's a 4-second gap.
Now we may see these drivers come back and kind of, I would say duke it out, but kind of just mingle together here sooner rather than later. We might see it again before this race wraps up. And I mean, so far, and I know some races that the traffic navigation has been a poison chalice for some drivers. I think it happened in Portimao. We've seen something like that. And actually, I know Hockenheim, that also happened. I believe it was Eric Mack trying to get out of the way of traffic and then just lost it. So traffic navigation is honestly one of the 4 cornerstones of endurance racing. So it's, and like we've said before, on a track this narrow, the margin of error is so thin that if a car is a centimeter too far over, that it is chaos and calamity.
But it's so much fun, we have to be honest. Chaos, calamity.
It is.
But boy, is it fun.
It's very fun indeed. And I mean, I know there may be a bit of frustration sometimes, but I know usually that does get settled very quickly, and it's just, like you said, a ton of fun for these drivers. It's a fun track and a fun set of racing regulations. I mean, I know a lot of people say Formula 1 is the pinnacle of motorsport, but
That's a lie.
I mean, I'd have to give that one to endurance racing, especially with multi-class, because there's so many other factors you really got to think about. You got to think about management. You got to think about strategy. You got to think about pace, which is all stuff you think about in Formula 1. But then you add that fourth part, which is that traffic management. I mean, it's so, like, it keeps you on the edge of your seat constantly.
Say that again. You can absolutely say that again if you wanted to, because it's so important, honestly, to see it go the right way, or when it goes the wrong way, it is spectacular here. As traffic management is becoming a big part of what we're seeing right now, as Eric Mack navigating through past Dwight Hibbs, Dwight moving off to the left hand side there, going into the carousel and doing a good job of staying out of the way here as they go. Eric Mack still trying to chase down Antonio Costa, who has opened up the gap to about 2.5 seconds up here and is only under 2 seconds away from Aiden Garcia as Aiden Garcia tries to work past the traffic here himself. And that was Nathan Hemperly that he just got past, and we'll see how Nathan handles Antonio Costa coming through as GT3 pit stops are now starting as well.
Yeah, as I mean, that's one way to allow a faster GTP car through for Nathan Hemperly. Turning his Porsche into a lawnmower for a bit, as we've seen a few people do today. And he's going to go and just let the 787 Cadillac through. And yeah, like you said, we're seeing these GT3 pit stops now. So I'm honestly quite surprised that the GTP cars didn't go for as long as the GT3 cars, because typically I feel like you would see the GT3s pit in before the prototypes do. So bit of a curious one for this race.
Yeah,
it might have had to do with height restrictions at the Nordschleife. Sorry for cutting in there.
No, you're good.
With the setups not being particularly made for this track, it might have been a height thing.
Zach, I'm going to ask you to comment on this as we watch Kyle O'Grady and Kylan Bruce come out of the pits here. You've driven GTP, you've driven GT3, obviously stepping back into GT3 and going through the 4-tire change. How significant is a tire change on GTP versus GT3? Because GT3 here, I mean, we're watching Kyle O'Grady just, I mean, kind of get through the first couple corners, but we watched both Garcia and Costa, who I would argue are strong drivers, both spin out through the first couple corners. But, I mean, the GT3s are just kind of coming out like tires aren't an issue for them.
Yeah, coming out on new tires on a GT3 is... It's nothing. It feels the same. You have a little bit of understeer, but it's more so just kind of a... I don't... It's kind of like a hindrance almost, where it's just added time in the pit stop, whereas GTPs is... It's a whole different race when you have to change tires.
That's so interesting to me that, you know, it's such a significant difference, but we see it visually week after week, so it doesn't surprise me for some reason. As well, like clockwork, we're coming through the first couple of corners here. Eric Mack, Big Mac himself, trying to come through with Antonio Costa there just off the edge of your screen as they go. And as we continue to watch these runs go through, we've got about 36 minutes left to go. Zach, I'm going to ask you, pick a driver, any driver. You're not picking a winner, just pick any driver that you see.
Oh, okay. Toppin. I don't think I've seen a lot of Toppin tonight.
All right. Well, that Lamborghini painted Cadillac is going to be the host of our temporarily loud engines here, as we're going to step aside for just a moment, right on board, listen to the sights and sounds of Matt Toppin going through the Nordschleife itself. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a breather here in the booth. We'll be right back to take you through the rest of this race. All right, and Matt Toppin with some temporarily loud engines getting us through and around the fun of the Nordschleife of the Northern Loop, as it's known, getting us through here. 2/3 race distance at the moment. It's myself, Brad, here in the booth with Patrick and Zach. So Zach, of course, Zach Nerney, the driver, and then Patrick is, of course, just hanging out with us. Or Patrick is here, and then Zach is hanging out with us. You know, maybe not flip the drivers around there. Flip the driver and the commentator around. So we go through 60 minutes of what's been very close competitive action. We've had a couple of big moments happen here and there that have taken some different drivers out. There's been a few things we've missed throughout the last little bit as well that I want to go back and show. So Matt Toppin had a moment earlier on, just a little light wiggle. This was earlier on in the session. Paul Nye, the donut guy, well, I have a feeling that he stopped at Krispy Kreme and picked up some donuts there halfway through the race. Matt Toppin, again, with another moment, another big snap, but he was able to keep things around. One more time, Matt Toppin. Matt Toppin, lots of moments of losing the rear. Golly, that's a hard hit. That was showing as lap 6, and he's now registering as lap number 9 for me as he comes through. Antonio Costa and Aiden Garcia. Well, this is the pirouette heard around the world. And just know that I will be taking recommendations for the best ballerina music that can be found from whoever would like to provide it. And then Emily Milky, what has happened to Emily here going through? Emily coming through the carousel and snaps that Porsche around.
Ooh.
Gets back going, though. No harm, no foul. All love. And still have plenty of drivers out on track, guys. Currently, as it stands, Nathan Hemperly is out. Paul Nye is out. Josh Bibb is out, who has said in YouTube chat he lost feedback. He lost his force feedback for his Porsche 992. Benjamin Bechtel is out. And, of course, Zach, you, sir, are out as well as you are in. As well, all of our leaders in GTP are now in. Tyler Stinnett, Lauren Auntie, Stuart Metterly, all in.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen before an entire championship decided by someone's force feedback just going straight to the bin. So it's really unfortunate and so heartbreaking. I mean, that's like the worst way possible to wreck out is when you have a mechanical failure. Just like in real racing too, it's just when you have those mechanical failures, it's stuff that's 9 times out of 10 just outside of your control, and it's a real bummer for these drivers, especially drivers that have some really solid pace, like a lot of these drivers are, or a lot of drivers have right now as they're currently navigating through this track, as that is the Cadillac of Antonio Garcia just going ahead and just passing on through, and the Big Mac is right behind him as there's a battle between some GT3s between Kylan Bruce and Kyle O'Grady.
Yeah, cut through. They're going through the Bilstein Bridge, just right together and around, keeping the Porsche battle alive. Kylan Bruce, Kyle O'Grady, not separated by much. But I tell you what, Antonio Costa and return of the Eric Mack, half a second separates them as they cross the start-finish line here to start. 30 minutes left to go. Well, 29 minutes left to go, actually, to start through. And guys, Zach, I'm going to ask you this question because I'm curious if you know this or not. For 1 meter of Armco barrier around the Nordschleife, what does it cost in euros to replace 1 meter of Armco if you hit it?
Oh, I'm going to get... I don't know this, so I'm going to guess around $10,000.
Oh, you're way off. A meter
good,
is
good.
3 feet. To replace 3 feet of Armco, how much do you think it cost?
Was I high or low?
You were way high.
Oh, okay, good.
3 feet. 3 feet of Armco replaced here around the Nordschleife if you reckon to it. What do you think it cost?
$500?
31 euros.
Oh, that's nothing. I thought it would be a lot. I
was actually expecting more towards like the 150 mark.
I want to chime in real quick here and say that the overheating, the spin that those two leaders did in GTP will start to show on their tires. And Mac's more natural tire heating method of not spinning will probably do wonders for his tires.
You mean to tell me that it doesn't pay to be a ballerina coming out of the pit exit? That's a shocker.
Never would have guessed that for some reason, but good to know. All right, Patrick, here's my question for you. To run a lap around the northern loop of the Nordschleife, how much do you think it cost?
Ooh, that.
Remember, this is open to the general public, but it is a toll road, so you pay to get one lap around this track. How much do you think it costs for the general public?
I'm actually going to go with the answer that was said earlier about the Armco barriers, and I'm going to say about 150.
Wrong.
Why couldn't you ask me this one?
Oh, do you know this one?
I feel like I'm wrong, but I think it's €7.
It is 26 euros, according to my information.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, that is what he said. I'll give him that one. So, what is the fastest production car that has lapped the Nordschleife?
Didn't the new Mustang GTD recently take that record, or does that not count as a production car?
Production car means I could go and buy it. It's publicly available.
I feel like the new Bugatti took it recently, didn't?
It's either that or like a Porsche GT3 of some spec.
I don't think you're going to get this one.
I want to look it up, but if I look it up, I'm just going to keep the answer to myself, not to spoil it for the rest of the chat.
Is it a Toyota Corolla?
It is not a Toyota Corolla, but man, wouldn't that be nice. So I will tell you right now, I argue this one a little bit, personally. The Mercedes AMG 1 on September 23rd of 2024 is what holds the lap record at the Nurburgring currently, with a 6:29.090 on Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires. Before that, it was the Porsche 911 GT2 RS, and then before that, it was the Mercedes AMG GT Black, and then a Porsche 911 GT3 RS 992.1. With the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ LP770 being just slightly slower.
After looking it up, just because I was curious, so the at least according to roadandtrack.com, which take that with a grain of salt, as of May 1st of this year, the Mustang GTD, which is basically a Mustang GT3 for the road, it is the fourth fastest production car with a 6:52.072 as its lap time.
Also, the Bugatti Bolide is in simulated lap time of a 5:33, so I think that spot could be in jeopardy when they decide to finally run it.
Yeah,
Although
that thing is basically
a hypercar prototype.
You got a good point there.
How fast can an SRT Tomahawk do it? I'm kidding.
Actually, you know what? That's a good question. Misha's last crash was around an $8,000 repair. So, a couple more things on that, by the way. So, when you crash, they have to close the circuit to recover your car. It's 1,350 euros an hour to close the circuit, 190 euros for the recovery truck, 31 euros a meter for Armco replacement, and 82 euros for every half hour that you have a safety car attendant.
So basically what you're telling me is if you have a open lobby moment, you are going bankrupt, is what I'm hearing.
It is very, very expensive, and you want to know the craziest thing out of all of this? As Aiden Garcia with an off there, big old track cut. Let's see, does he get a slowdown from this? Just managing, I think he's trying to negotiate traffic, having a hard time. And as we've been talking about random facts, this battle for the lead is really closed up. 20 minutes left to go. You know the craziest thing about all this is that the Nordschleife does not allow Hans devices.
Now that is a shocker.
Yeah, that's one that I'll let everyone look up on their own. But yeah, it doesn't allow Hans devices. So
Yeah, that's pretty surprising considering that almost every racing series requires one now. Interesting. That is definitely a fun fact of the day.
Yep, you're welcome. So look that one up
I'm-
in your free time.
That's not for like the racing series, right?
No,
No, that
that's
is
for the
racing
general
series. Yes, that is racing
Really?
series because there's
Oh, wow.
actually I think Misha specifically has a petition going around right now for Hans devices to be allowed.
Interesting.
That is actually crazy.
So yeah, he's currently he has a change.org petition where he is arguing that the Hans device should be allowed at the Nurburgring because it currently is not.
I would almost argue it should be required.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree,
Likewise.
especially when you consider how this track is set up.
I mean, sometimes you can just take those corners fast enough to give yourself just whiplash from going through the corners.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, but I will drop that petition in the YouTube chat. Actually, it's already closed. It's gotten 20,000 signatures in 2 days. So,
I mean, that's quite a few amount of signatures.
and actually, the video was privated. So I wonder if something's happened behind the scenes that I don't know about.
Well, I wonder if they kind of went after him because he's got that media pass.
They could have, but I mean, you never know, I guess, what happens there. But I mean, you know what? If somebody in YouTube chat knows the status of that and knows why that video is private, drop it in chat because I'd be curious to know myself here. 20 minutes left to go in this race, guys. And I tell you what, this might be the closest fight that we've had here. A tenth of a second separating first and second place currently. Aiden Garcia, Antonio Costa. These two have been glued to each other's bumpers this entire race. Haven't been able to separate each other. And at the moment, I mean, it's one thing to catch. It's another to pass. But when you have as much pace as it looks like Costa does, I figured the pass would have been done by now.
But something else we have to really note, too, is that if either of these two drivers make a mistake, Eric Mack is going to have a massive opportunity to capitalize and jump into the race lead because he's only about a second and a half behind this pack himself. So, yeah, I mean, if any of these drivers make any kind of mistake, then it's Eric Mack's race to lose. I mean, because Matt Toppin, who I believe is in fourth in the GTP standings, he is 4 minutes away from the leader of this race. So, I mean, if Eric Mack keeps it clean and one of these two drivers makes a mistake or both of these drivers makes a mistake, then Eric Mack is going to end this championship on top.
I think he ends it in this current spot, honestly. I think if he just relaxes where he's at, he's good to go.
Yeah, I don't think he's in a bad position, but of course, there's one thing that we know about racing drivers. It's that they want the absolute best win they can get. So just keep your eyes on them and see what happens as they go through. Battle in GT3 AM has been pointed out to me multiple times as a battle to watch. So looking through and kind of seeing where that's at currently. Parker Chiapuzzo, Christopher Ondera battling it out for AM championships. And let's see, they came into this run on points sitting at Christopher Ondera was at 206, Hemperly was at 177, Chiapuzzo was at 177. And right now Chiapuzzo, I mean, is in a really good position, currently leading in GT3 AM. So Parker Chiapuzzo there looking good. Hemperly is actually not even on track right now. And Christopher Ondera is currently running P21 overall, last place of any car that is still running.
Yes, I mean, once again, this race is really going to come down to who can survive. But yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, Eric Mack, he could honestly just still win this championship from P3 at the moment if he just settles in. But, I mean, no champion in their right mind is just simply going to settle for P3. He'll take a P3 if it's all he can get, But if he could go for a win, he is 129% going to go for that race win. And honestly, if there's an opportunity to make an overtake, don't think he's going to shy away from it.
We've officially lapped all GT3s here. Tyler Sinek now lapped through by Garcia and Costa. Eric Mack comes through. That was a good opportunity for Costa to try for a pass. Wasn't able to capitalize, but man, he's right on the rear bumper. And Matt Toppin has picked up a penalty for something. Black flag showing on my side. Not exactly sure what's happened. I have a guess that is going to be track limits that have came out to bite him.
It's kind of impressive that you managed to get a track limit violation on this track without just straight putting it into the wall. What's also very impressive is as we round through one of the carousels on track, Eric Mack has closed that gap up now to less than a second. So this is going to be a fantastic track race when we go on to that massive straight. And I know we got about 16 and a half minutes left to go, but we only got about 3 or 4 laps left of this race. So, and only 3 or 4 laps left of the season.
That's insane to think about. Just a few more laps remaining here. 16 minutes left to go on this run as we watch Costa and Garcia try to battle it out here and keep things going. I mean, they are very neck and neck. They're tucked through as they come down around through YouTube corner, I believe is where they're at on the track, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I am correct that was YouTube corner as they come through and around and out. And big snap there from Costa. Big wiggle coming up over the hill out of the corner. I think that was Flats Garden is where he just came through, if I'm not mistaken. And that big snap, that is unfortunate to see. That's going to open up that gap quite a bit. And, well, look behind here because return of Eric Mack is starting to close things up very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, once again, like we said earlier, as soon as one of these drivers makes a mistake, Eric Mack is going to try to capitalize, but it didn't seem like he really had enough of closing that gap, although granted, you're really not going to close that gap unless you get a really good slipstream, and his best shot for that slipstream is going to be that massive straight that leads right up to the last 3 or 4 corners of the circuit as we re-enter the GP. And actually, it's just Audi Sport straight that they are on right now. So Eric Mack does have a fantastic chance to close this gap and get back into that really close gap. But he's actually losing time to Antonio Costa up ahead. They're both in the same car. So this is down to a downforce difference between the 2 cars.
That it is, honestly. And, you know, Zach, it doesn't surprise me to see that difference either. Again, where we talked about the setup differences, you can see those sort of situations come in as we see Aiden Garcia here. Again, not as far in the lead as he'd want to be, I'd say, but with 14 minutes left to go, we're, 3 laps to go, you think? See how this one ends up.
I'm actually curious to see who would have fastest lap.
Dive into turn 1. Can he make the pass stick? Switch through, switch back, switch around. Antonio Costa held onto that for way too long, waiting to get a pass through. And, well, new leader Antonio Costa here with 13 minutes left to go. Just under 14 minutes, just over 13 minutes to go. And Aiden Garcia now will have the problem of holding off Big Mac himself. See if he's able to.
I'm interested to see if he could stick to the back of Costa for another 2 laps and try and make a pass on that back straight.
Yeah, because honestly, that's probably, if this retake is going to happen, that's probably where it's going to happen at, I would imagine. I mean, like you said, you got to really stick to the gearbox of that Cadillac up ahead if you want to make this pass happen. So we'll have to see, and we'll see if Eric Mack actually becomes a part of this race as well, if he becomes a factor in deciding who wins or loses this one.
I definitely think Eric Mack is going to have some sort of play on this one. I just don't know how much at this point as we see continuing through Garcia and Mack trying to find a run. And if you're wondering, well, where is P4 on this mix? Well, here's Matt Toppin, and you might recognize that this is well back into the Nordschleife. There's Eric Mack. That is a 4-minute, 40-second gap that is currently sitting between Matt Toppin and these top three. So that is what 4 minutes and 40 seconds around a 7.5 minute lap looks like for them as they go through. That's a significant margin to overcome for him, and I really don't think he will. I think at this point he's just trying to run consistently because Matt Toppin has over a minute to Bob Carey behind, so he may just be trying to settle in that very comfortable P4 as they go through.
Yeah, I mean, if you're this far back off of the top three, you might as well just kind of settle in and just prioritize getting across the line, because I mean, unless there's a humongous incident between these three cars up at the front, then Matt Toppin, it's going to be way easier said than done to catch up to these three. I mean, these three are on fire right now. They're all three of them are in each other's slipstream, and they're all basically within a second of each other, just about. I believe they actually are all within a singular second of each other. So, I mean, Aiden's really in a very unenviable position right now because he's got to chase down that brisk vehicle of Antonio Costa, but Eric Mack is trying to get a win to close off the season. I mean, with a very rapid championship leader right behind you and a very brisk driver right ahead of you, then it's not really the best sandwich to be a part of.
The puns come at you thick and fast like the corners does. Foss Rule in YouTube chat correcting me there. Han's not permitted during tourist driving, but is allowed on track days. Apologies if there was any non-clarity on that one. It is weird to see a track that that races so hard, but is also allows the what you call tourist driving, but is also, the tourist driving can be anything from like your mom's minivan all the way up to $1 million cars owned by, the richest people possible. So, but yeah.
Although driving a minivan around this track does not sound like the most boring idea ever. It'd be a pretty fun road trip.
Plenty of videos of it on YouTube. I'll recommend watching those, and I'm sure somebody is going to watch it tonight because they're good. They are very, very good.
I think Misha has one where he drives an SUV full of, 7 or 8 people around. It's a pretty good watch.
Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the beauty of this track. I mean, aside from the fact that there's a lot of corners, and it looked like a very late braking moment there for Eric Mack as he tries to force Aiden Garcia into a bit of a code brown as they navigate through the carousel. But I thought that was actually going to be a crash, so good on Eric Mack for keeping the car on the track and out of the barriers. But that gap is really closed up for Eric Mack.
Costa
that was odd too. You saw Costa out of the carousel. He was up on out of the banking of the carousel there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him there. That's not the ideal line through the carousel for either of these classes, to run and, miss the carousel, run that high line exit. I wonder if Costa maybe carried a little bit too much speed. I have the feeling Costa is really trying to just drive a gap in right now and open up some space, but isn't, maybe over driving a little bit? Or is this the nature of being a ballerina coming back to bite him?
It could have been a safety play too, because I know that throws your car around, and it's not hard to spin off the carousel and exit or entry.
To add on top of that, I'm pretty sure the carousel was actually a different material compared to the rest of the Nordschleife. I believe it's concrete, like similar to what they have at Sebring. Now, I could be wrong on that, and I think someone in chat's probably going to fact check me, and please do. I'm actually curious to see if I'm right, but that also might play into a factor as well, because concrete and tarmac, while walking on them feels very similar, driving is a whole nother ballgame.
You can say that again. Man, you're not wrong at all here. For those of you curious, kind of looking through the field here. GT3's 7.5 minutes left to go here. Tyler Sinek has an 8.5 second lead over Jeff Lorianti, with Chris Stewart a further 10 seconds behind that. Brian Metterly about 16 seconds back from there. Martin Merkfa about 8 seconds back. So GT3s have really kind of spread out now. The nature of this track, of this Nürburgring Nordschleife, really kind of showing itself here as Costa and Garcia underneath the Bilstein Bridge here. Zach, this is going to be a close battle. Are we going to see another turn one dive from Garcia like we saw on Costa the previous lap?
If I'm Garcia here, I hold on to it and try that on the final lap. Just try and stay a lot closer to him.
They'll cross the line with under 7 minutes to go. They've been lapping about 7:23. So I would think this is the final lap, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this is definitely the last round for the GT3s, and I think for GTPs, this is also the final lap of the race. So, I mean, it's really make or break here in this battle for first place overall between Costa, Garcia, and Mac. It's gonna be. I mean, if you're gonna make a move, I mean, it's pretty much do or don't at this point. You can either go big or go home, and I think a lot of these drivers are going to try to go big here and follow, don't create a highlight reel moment for themselves.
It is a lot of fun watching this 2.4 liter V6 keep up with that 5.5 V8.
It is, isn't it? It's pretty good. I have to give it that one, honestly. Look at that rearview mirror there. Eric Mack slowly starting to loom in on Aiden Garcia and get a little bit closer. You can see the reflection there in the mirror over the rear wing as they go through. This should, for all intents and purposes, be the final lap that they are on here. And let's see how they do as they go through around, trying to get through this Grand Prix track. And now they release through what is known as turn 13. And this is where the Nordschleife proper begins again. Should be the final time that they take the Nordschleife here with 5 minutes, 15 seconds left to go.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's been a fantastic race and a fantastic season for these drivers. And I mean, we've been to a lot of fantastic tracks here at Elbows Out Racing, as now we are on to the final 5 minutes of not just the race, we're on the final 5 minutes of the season, which is absolutely bonkers to think about. But it's not over yet. We still have about probably 5+ minutes so they can finish off the lap. But we still have quite a big battle ahead of us. And I mean, what a way to end the season too. You're on the Nordschleife, and you have a three-way battle for first place that they're all within under a second of each other.
Whoa.
I mean, you could ask for much more, but Eric Mack, it's contact, and Eric Mack just slides into the lead. We prophesied that this was going to happen. Incident between Antonio Costa and Aiden Garcia allows Eric Mack to slide into the lead as we get a PTR TV replay. And boy, oh boy, the stewards are going to have a field day with that one.
And Garcia had to tow from that. So much. Garcia has led 85 minutes of racing off and on. And Aiden Garcia in the final 5 minutes.
You got to feel for the guy.
That hurts for both him and Costa, but I can't imagine that Mac is feeling much pain right now. He's probably celebrating that.
Mac
He's probably grinning from ear to ear like a Cheshire cat right about now. It's like, oh, well, thank you very much. I'll take that.
Let's take a brief look here at Costa's car and see if there is damage to be found from our cameras. I'm sure there is damage here on that right-hand side as we look through, and you can see the displacement there on the right front. If you look down around those screws just to the right of the Cadillac logo, some damage there. You can definitely tell the car is driving slightly off, so I I don't even think that Costa can have a chance to run after Mac there. But, I mean, I don't even know what you say to that one. It's very rare as a commentator that I find myself speechless, but I've found myself speechless as Kylan Bruce has a spin here on the Grand Prix circuit and is going to get back out and going here. Daniel Pinero up ahead. 2.5 minutes left to go, and that is brutal.
Yeah, I got a feel for Aiden there. I know Costa had his race ruined there, but Aiden's got to be torn up about that.
Yeah, leading for 85 minutes. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Timid Gaming in YouTube chat said it best, that it was a brutal ending to this track, or to this race for him as the season finale. But we know that this is a brutal track. And I mean, I know I said it's pretty much go big or go home, but sometimes you end up doing both. And it's just really unfortunate there. And as another person said in chat, that was going to be a very special battle to watch between those three prototypes.
It was going to be something, but that's the nature of racing. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. And unfortunately, as we saw there for Aiden Garcia, it didn't go his way. Antonio Costa getting past Emily Milky there as Emily Milky runs that Porsche, just doing a little bit of yard work here around the Nordschleife. Just casual there as Eric Mack is about halfway through this circuit, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the positioning of where he's at on circuit. We'll try to get an idea here, actually, as he runs through and comes down. Say hello to YouTube Corner as he goes up and over and around. And actually, wait, was that YouTube Corner? No, this is YouTube Corner, I believe.
I believe we're past YouTube Corner here.
Okay, I was about to say, I might be completely mixing myself up here as they go through, as Eric Mack comes through. No, is this YouTube Corner? Wait.
We're coming up to the second carousel now.
Okay, there it is. I was about to say, where in the world are we on circuit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long track, so, I mean, it's pretty easy to get yourself lost in the beauty of this track. And he's on the final home stretch now, so Eric Mack ready to round out the season on the top position of the championship standings and on the top step of that podium.
Not a better way to end the season, honestly, than with the win. Even if it's not exactly how he expected to get it, still a great run there as they go underneath the Bilstein Bridge and around. And as he comes through, I mean, Eric Mack, what a dominating season has to be said here for Elbows Out Racing. He's had such a great run. And I mean, to just end this 2025 season 2 with a win is just chef's kiss. He's going to cross the line. Nobody can contest it. Eric Mack is the winner in GTP, is the winner in Elbows Out season finale, and is going to be your point standing winner for Elbows Out here in GTP. A great run in the season. Multiple wins have been had from Eric Mack, and Big Mac himself finds his way through his 11th start of this 12-round season, his 4th win of the season. Great run from him there. Congratulations go out to Eric Mack as the rest of our drivers continue to finish their laps around. Tyler Stanek has a good chunk of the track left to go, I believe, or actually not too much of the track. He's on the 17th kilometer, and Tyler Stanek, you got to say, has been great here as he's going through and around. Tyler Stanek showing up, dominating, having a great run here. His statistics on the season, I mean, he has 4 wins. This will be his 5th win of the season. It's got to be said, a great run in that Mustang. Many, many more seasons to come for him as he just needs to bring it home through the last little bit.
I'm sure that guy in YouTube chat who bet his house on this Mustang winning is going to be very happy that he's keeping his house. But yeah, it has been a fantastic drive and a fantastic season for Tyler Stanek as well. I mean, you don't really think of a Mustang as like a car that's usually very good for corners, but I mean, he's had a fantastic season at a wide variety of circuits, so shout out to him as well.
Yeah, great run from him, honestly, all the way through as we watch. He's going through Tyler Stanek coming down the backstretch here, trying to get an idea of where Parker Chiapuzzo is. And Parker is just now coming in through the carousels looking at my track map. So Tyler Stanek coming through, and behind is Jeff Laurinanti coming through. I think I said that right. I might have said that wrong, actually. So as he comes through, and we'll see how he does, as Jeff will be behind. But Tyler Stanek, great run, great way to cap out a great season for him as well. Eric Mack wins. Tyler Stanek is going to win here and will cap this off with his 5th win of 2025 Season 2. It'll be interesting to see what he does in 2025 Season 3 when we come back for PTR TV. Did I just drop the bomb there of all bombs? Yeah, we will be back for next season here on PTR TV of Elbows Out Racing. I'd save that one for the very end here. It's Parker Chiapuzzo. I'll be curious to see how the AM results are settled out because Parker Chiapuzzo came in on a 3rd place in the GT3 AMs, tied at 177 with Hemperly. Hemperly's out, Ondera is out, so what will that mean for Chiapuzzo? Does this give Chiapuzzo the win in GT3 AM?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we'll probably have our answer soon-ish, but I mean, we're definitely gonna make sure that, or I spoke incorrectly, but we know for a fact that Parker Chiapuzzo is definitely the race winner in his class today, but we're obviously going to have to just wait a little bit to find out if he is the champion of the GT3 AM category.
Let's see here as he comes through. And I can tell you right now, drivers are spread out pretty significantly around this circuit as I look through. So we still have drivers that are just now getting through the first sector of the Nordschleife. So we may not hang around and wait for everyone to finish here tonight because it will be several more minutes while they do that. Christopher Ondera, it looks like, is back a significant portion. But Parker Chiapuzzo will cross the line here, wins in GT3 AM, and I'll be curious to see what the official steward's notice will be for whether Parker Chiapuzzo takes that AM win overall. Definitely is possible. We'll just have to wait and see where it is.
Yeah, I feel like the stewards are going to have their work cut out for them considering the amount of chaos we've had on this race. But yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic season, honestly, here at Elbows Out Racing. Really good races from start to finish, and I think this Nurburgring track is definitely contender of race of the year, or race of the season, I should say.
It's been such a good race. I enjoy that the first and last round of the season run 90 minutes because it does something different to the mindset of the drivers. And Zach, you could probably speak on that a bit more than I can of what it actually does that sort of causes that difference.
Yeah, it makes you not as aggressive in those opening laps. You're not thinking that every lap is a battle. You have some give and take there. Still not a lot. It's still only 90 minutes, but it is a little bit better there.
Seeing here, Santa Sierra, it looks like, and Matt Toppin running with each other there, just having a little bit of fun, enjoying the final run of the season. Again, we do not have the official schedule for next season yet, waiting to get that announced. I'm sure that'll be announced here in the coming weeks, and then we'll be able to bring that to you and see where that goes as everyone comes through. We've got some drivers in the audience hanging out, so while we wait on these final people to come through, what do you say we talk to some drivers here? And let's start out with figuring out where Tyler is. So Tyler, get up in here, sir. One Mr. Dominating GT3 run done and dusted. So Tyler Stanek will join us up here in the booth. And Tyler, listen, I don't know how many wins you had to get on a season, but you did good, man. You did real good.
I really appreciate it. You guys did awesome too.
So is there just something with you and this Mustang that click? Like, what is it that really, really works for you with this car?
That was actually not enjoyable to drive, to be honest with you. We've been practicing the BMW a lot, and the Mustang was just trying to kill me at every moment. But, I mean, luckily, just the amount of time we've run for all these races, I learned how to not crash. There was a couple moments I thought I was going to bend it, but somehow kept on the track most of the time.
I hate to be the guy to tell you this, but somebody bet their house on you winning tonight. So,
At least they get to keep their house.
I mean, yeah, I would say that. So, going through, talk to me about your season as a whole, Tyler. We kind of tapped on this a little bit earlier, but this was your 5th win of the season, so it was absolutely amazing to watch.
It's been awesome. It's been great battles and really enjoying what the league's becoming, and the friendships have picked up. A bunch of the guys, Nerney, Paul, Ian, Brian, we're all doing the 24 this weekend. So I mean, that wouldn't be possible without the league. So the broadcasts have been awesome. It's just been really enjoyable to be involved with as a whole, and I'm fortunate enough that I've found some good luck across the season. Next season's gonna be a little different now with no grid penalty, so it should be super interesting. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to ask for next season, are you going to stick with GT3s or are you looking at those LMP2s as a new challenge?
I'm sticking with GT3s. GTPs are fun. I just really enjoy the more like IMSA door banging kind of battling, and with the hybrids, it's just not necessarily as enjoyable for me. But especially with the new tire model coming, I'm super excited to stay with the GT3s.
I respect that. And Tyler, anyone you want to thank or shout out before we let you go celebrate this win?
Appreciate everyone we made friends with. It's been awesome. Brian, appreciate the livery and everything like that, and it's just been something to look forward to. Shout out to you guys. The broadcasts have been awesome. We work at a dealership and we put it up on the big screen while we're working. Everyone watches the races after the fact, and it's just really enjoyable to go back and watch it. And everyone who puts this together every week on a weekly basis without asking for anything is just we're very appreciative of it. Everyone, Brian, everyone we locally hang out with. So looking forward to next season, and hopefully we get more and more people to join, and it just continues to grow.
Awesome, man. Well, Tyler, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the points championship there. And we will catch up with you later, man. I'm sure we'll talk to you a lot next season if this season is anything to go off of.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. So that was Tyler Sinek, your GT3 Pro champion, coming through and saying hello. So apparently he's going to be taking houses and lunches when it's all said and done. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm not asking questions. Do we have Big Mac himself around? Is Eric Mack made himself available?
Give me
unfortunately
1
do not see
second.
him.
I'm gonna try and go grab him real quick.
Okay. Well, while we have our resident Larry Mack, one Mr. Zach, trying to get that, Patrick, what do you say you talk with Parker Chiapuzzo, who might, and I put a big asterisk on this,
There he is.
might have the GT3 AM run, but definitely had the GT3 AM win tonight.
I think that's a fantastic idea. All right. So, Mr. Parker, I mean, well, according to the graphic, you are. Oh, okay, never mind, it switched. But a win here today at the Nordschleife. I mean, how does it feel to get a win around such a brutal track here today?
Oh, thank you guys. It feels great. This was a really tough race. I think at a track like this, it's a big mental challenge as much as physical driving the car. Just making sure that you're staying focused and staying on top of things the whole time. So I'm really happy with how how the race went, and just glad I kept it on track.
And I asked Zachary this earlier, but while we do not know what the next calendar is going to look like, what track do you want to see on the calendar for next season?
Oh, wonderful question. I got to go back to the classic Daytona. I think that's just one of my favorite tracks. I think that was one of the first endurance races that I did. So really enjoy Daytona. But yeah, there's plenty of other good ones in the schedule.
You and Zachary both shared the exact same brain cell with that question. So, I mean, it's I know it's been a long season, so but we went to a lot of fantastic tracks. What was your favorite track that you visited this season? Is it still Daytona, or is there another race that comes to mind?
I think it's got to be Daytona. Sorry if that's a boring broadcast answer, but no, I think that was my only other AM win this season was at Daytona. But yeah, I think Daytona and here are two of the tracks that I've practiced a lot and done a few races at before. So good to be back at them.
I mean, everybody here in this booth at the moment is a fan of Daytona. So, I mean, it is, we do appreciate the honesty. Now, with the big announcement of the change to LMP2s instead of the prototypes next season, are you going to stick to GT3 or are you going to head over to the LMP2 category?
I'm not sure yet. Still trying to figure that out. I think they're both going to be a challenge for me, but in different ways. Adapting to a slightly different car versus adapting to the different tire model. So I think I'm going to do some testing during week 13 and try to figure that out. But if I had to say right now, probably sticking with the GT3s.
And are you thinking sticking with McLaren or?
I don't know. I might switch back to the Porsche. I think the first couple seasons here with EOR, I was racing the Porsche and really enjoyed that. And that's what I'll be using this weekend for the 24. So I've been doing some practice laps with that, and it feels good. So might have to swap back.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations on your race win, and best of luck to you at the Nurburgring 24-hour.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for putting on a wonderful broadcast and doing this the whole season. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. And then we're going to bring in, last but not least, one Mr. Big Mac himself, the overall winner here of 2025 season 2 of Elbows Out. So first off, I got to tell you, I was paid to call you Big Mac. And if I wasn't paid, then I better be getting paid soon.
I like that. I just hope I live up to the name.
Definitely was a big season for you, man. Eric, kind of talk me through it. It's been a season of, high highs and low lows, but in the end, we can call you the overall 2025 season 2 winner here of Elbows Out. How's it feel?
It feels good. I feel not worthy though. Like you said, there's a lot of good races, a lot of not so good races. But in the end, there's, consistency was key. I had a lot of second place finishes, so that's what bumped me up over the edge.
So looking at your season as a whole, obviously, lots of good second place finishes, lots of good moments there. Is there any one particular thing that stands out in your mind throughout the entire season? Any race, any moment, anything like that stands out in your mind over this season?
Tonight I had my Lewis Hamilton moment with the contact between Costa and Garcia. So, I mean, that's going to stick with me for a little while. Just the through goes Mac moment there to finish off the season. I don't feel worthy of the win. I'm gutted for Aiden. We all know Costa's fast, but I feel like Aiden ran a perfect race from start to finish. So, gutted for him. Not a good way to lose a race, but that moment that'll stick with me for a little bit.
Definitely don't blame you there. And Eric, next season schedule isn't officially announced yet, but I got to ask, what will we see you in? Will it be GT3s or will it be LMP2s? What's your plans for next season with us?
I like the Protos, so I'm going to stick with the LMP2. So I think it'll be good. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how participation looks. Hopefully the racing's a little closer through the season with it.
You got a teammate already picked out?
I don't. I got to look into that.
All right. Well, I thought I'd ask. I was curious, but good to know there. So if anyone's watching this broadcast right now that hasn't picked out a teammate for next season, Eric Mack is available and is fast, as you can see. So, just we'll throw that one out there. And if for some reason you get a teammate as a result of that broadcast endorsement, I will take my finder's fee.
There you go, matchmakers. Thank you.
Eric, man.
I was going to make a joke about him being single and ready to mingle, but I wasn't sure that was ready for broadcast, but...
It's okay. Eric, anyone you want to thank or shout out before we let you go, man? The floor is yours. You are our season 2 winner.
Just the admins, everybody that keeps the league running and going, and doing the post race reviews, things like that. And you guys as broadcasters have been amazing. I think this has been an awesome addition to the league. Makes it just feel even more immersive and real. So thank you guys. You guys are great. I love the broadcasts. It's been awesome going back and watching these every week.
Awesome, man. We appreciate that a lot. And congratulations again on your victory. And I'm sure we'll talk to you some next season. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, first off, Zach, thanks for joining us in the booth here. I know the race didn't go the way you wanted, but we appreciate you stopping in, hanging out, giving us some driver insights for kind of what drivers do and don't handle, and kind of where things go for them throughout a race. So you got any final thoughts?
No, I just thank you guys for having me. That was a fun race to watch, even though I didn't get to really participate in it. I definitely didn't have a down night. That was a lot of fun.
Was a lot of fun, honestly, going through. And Patrick, you've joined off and on through the season in different positions and different races. What are your overall thoughts for this season?
I mean, it's been a pretty solid season, honestly. I mean, I can't really think of any boring races. I know even for the times I wasn't in the commentary booth, most times I did watch it on YouTube during the broadcast, and honestly, it's really good racing. I mean, the admin team picked a fantastic selection of tracks. I mean, every track that we've been on, I mean, especially this track, Zandvoort, Portimao, they've all been certified bangers. And I'm really excited to see what next season brings, because I think next season's going to be extremely close and extremely fun.
Definitely think that next season is going to be awesome. And of course, if you want to catch next season, we do plan on having it live here on PTR TV. So if you want to catch the next season, make sure you tune in. We will have announcements, of course, once we know the schedule. The league will get that announced, and then we'll announce it subsequently and kind of get everything going. But, I've always been a big lover of multi-class racing. And when I came over to PTR TV, I kind of said, you know what, get multi-class racing in. Of course, we had Red Sox Racing League, who we love. Lots of love to them going through. And we, of course, brought on Elbows Out. And then just, covering them throughout the past 12 weeks with the inclusion of course, Spa, the first one-off sort of broadcast we had, and then being able to sort of shape this through. I want to give a big shout out to everyone behind the scenes that, I've been able to work with, between the admin, the drivers. Definitely this is a different style of content for the channel than what you normally see, and it's been great to kind of get their feedback and work with them a little bit to shape this into something they enjoy and something that we feel represents the channel well. Still plenty of improvements and things that we could build forward and build on, but looking forward to working with Elbows Out to get that going. But every season has a story, every season has an end, and I think this is going to be where season 2025, season 2, if words could find me at 10:56 at night. This is going to be where we end this stream. Won't be live next week here on Wednesday, but of course tomorrow night we do have Area iRacing, the Pro Series that'll be live. Corey and Hunter will take you through that, and then Sunday night we'll have Triple Bypass Racing, and then another good week of racing coming up next week, even with week 13. But every broadcast has to end somewhere, and I think we're going to end this one here. So on behalf of Zach, who's joined us in the booth, on behalf of Patrick, on behalf of Andre, who's been here, on behalf of everyone who has made this possible, top to bottom, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us for the next one, where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.